Hello and welcome back to my channel, The Big Sister Talk with Nkabs. My name is Nkabeli, and this is the space where we talk about everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking about from relationships, whether it's a relationship with the people that you live with in the house, whether it's a relationship with your colleagues, the relationship with the people that you meet on the street, or even the relationship with self. Because you know what? People don't know how to relate with self. A person would be going on with their lives, but if you say, tell me about you, really, like let me just hear, what do you know about yourself? People don't have relationships with self, and it's mainly because at times it's a busy mother, a working mother, who is taking care of every other person plus their job. At the time when it's now time to have, a moment with self, people don't, maybe they even forget. It's not a matter of they don't have time. A person even forget that they have to have that me time, that alone time. Switch off everything, sit with yourself, listen to yourself. So this is the space that we talk about that, the space that we observe such, the place that, I always want to remind people that you have to have time with self. You have to love yourself. Don't ever forget to, love yourself while you're loving those that are around you. So it's this is the space where we talk about that. If it's anything that affects your well-being, I want you to, and you feel like you want to talk about it, I want you to come in, sometimes without even knocking, and comment and say, let's talk about this. How about we talk about that? I always go through the comments, and I always want to say, you know what, let us talk, let us share, let's teach and learn from each other. So the topic for today's video is change. My heart just told me to, want to talk about change. I want us to maybe carry on from the previous video where I was talking about jumping into the new year. And today I'm saying, let us talk about change, because change is something that is very inevitable, whether you are aware of it happening or not, and whether it is good or bad, it is always happening. So when I say whether you are aware of it or not, there's a saying that say, the more things stay the same, the more they change. So you might be sitting there thinking you are carrying on with your life, like for instance, we are coming from the other year into this year, and another person, I've spoken to people before who say, I don't even feel like this. In fact, for me, I don't even celebrate. I don't even see the need why people celebrate the parting of the 2 years. That is how other people don't care about change, or they don't even consider change. They even think, ah, whatever happened or whatever happens. And but I want to say, in this video, I want to say, it's actually not like that. We have to embrace change. We have to be aware of change. We have to be alert of what is happening around you in your life. You have to be aware of, for example, I've made an example of a busy mother. A mother might just be carrying on with their life, raising kids, without realizing that these people are growing. They are becoming a man, a woman, some people in their own. Our kids are individuals, so you have to embrace the change. However, if you are a mother, you might not even be aware. You will wake up one day and you see your son is taller than you, because boys have the tendency of being taller than their mothers. Or if you are raising a daughter, you wake up and you find a friend, somebody that you can actually discuss everything with, and without even it happened to me, because I'm raising a daughter, and without even realizing, she's at a point where we can discuss about everyday things, where we discuss about things that I maybe, if you give me 8 years ago, I wouldn't talk to her about those because she was young. But when they grow, you find yourself already talking about things without even having been aware of that thing happening. So as I said, good or bad, change will happen. Good or bad, change is inevitable. So whether you want it or not, it will happen. Um, so if, as I say, we're walking into this year, we have to be aware of what we are going into. We have to be alert, of our surroundings, and that along the way of life, you will lose climbers. I'm using the word climbers because it's more like life is a ladder. We are climbing to the new us. Some people are climbing career ladders. I know two friends that chose, when they were still in high school, they decided to go for the same course at the same institution, and their study methods are more or less the same. But I wonder if that's a good idea. Maybe to them at that time, it's a good idea. But just imagine if you have to do things because somebody's doing it. Just imagine if you have to become a doctor because your friend is one. What if you are not cut to be a doctor? What if your happiness is not, in being a doctor? But then at the same time, it doesn't mean all is lost when things happen that way. If you are that person who found yourself matching your lifestyle with a friend because you were good friends at that time, it doesn't mean if you decide to change and follow your passion, you're becoming a bad friend. No, it just means you are embracing the change that is happening in your life. A person is allowed to change. A person shouldn't be afraid to change careers, shouldn't be afraid to change friends, shouldn't be afraid to step out of an unhappy situation. Because of societal reasons, people sometimes find themselves living under the guise of family expectations, society expectations, and it's because people are afraid of change. People are generally just afraid to change their ways, to change the way they do things. If a person is married, they're afraid to step out of an unhappy marriage. If a person is unmarried, they then just want to jump into being married because society says at a certain age you have to be married. I think that mentality has to change. That notion has to change. And this is the change that I'm talking about. That do not be afraid to be different. Do not be afraid to live your life, to be the you that you are supposed to be. Because life is very, very short. I always say life is so short that before we know it, even if you live up to 100 years, even if you live up to 95 years, the way Mandela did, at some point you're going to die. And when you die, you actually dead for longer than you lived. Whether you live for 100 years, you're going to be dead for longer than 100 years. So life is short for you to actually embrace another person's dream through you. Don't say, um, I'm staying in this relationship because I took a vow to say till death do us part. And I'm not advocating for divorce, but I'm advocating for happiness from within. Be happy from within as a human being. Be able to say, I want to change. I want to move. Nobody is a tree. You are allowed to move if you have to. So I'm so sorry. I still have a scratchy throat because I had flu in South Africa. We had a very, very wet December, and a number of people caught the flu bug. I was one of those people. So I'm gonna be clearing my throat from time to time. I'm sorry about that, but I've come out of the bed space now. I'm just recovering. So I was saying, people should stop living under the guise of family expectations. Don't live because your mother expects to have a son-in-law at a particular age. Your mother expects to have a daughter-in-law at a particular age, or grandchildren. It is a nice to have. It's a nice to have, if you go to school on record time, get married at the particular, maybe you finish school at 17, you go to university for the next 4 years. At the age of 21 you finish. On the age of 22 you are working. Maybe at the age of 23, 24, 25 you get married, and then you have kids. It's a nice to have, but how many people have that? Let's talk about that. How many people have that? And if they have it, are people having that because that's how it happened, or somebody's putting themselves under the pressure of, I have to have this, I have to do this, I have to have it this way? I think it's allowed to embrace the change and say, even if I'm not married, even if I don't have kids at a particular age, it's okay. It's fine. There are people who started their lives a little later and they're happier. Why? At the time when you make a decision where you are aware of the changing ways of life, I think you make a better informed decision as a human being. So people shouldn't ditch this thing of family expectation. My father expects me to have a son so that the person can carry the surname. I think people need to change, to step out of that belief. You shouldn't get married because at the age you're expected to be married, and as I said already, you are unhappy. You're just sitting there because I'm supposed to be married, I'm supposed to remain married. The minute I said I do, I cannot say I don't. And it's not nice. Divorce is not a beautiful thing. I hate divorce. I love love. However, love has to be friendly, it has to be happy, it has to be fulfilling to the both parties. And if it's fulfilling to this party, the two parties, they will then have maybe kids. They will then have other family members, and everybody will be happy. But if it's a question of, yeah, I'm just sitting here because one person is going to be unhappy, and things have a way of overflowing, so that unhappiness will be flowing to the wrong people. When they say, people who are hurt, you got stabbed by somebody, but you're busy bleeding on other people. So like I say, if you are in a union that is not happy, you are being stabbed by the person that you are in a union with, but you are bleeding on your extended family members. Therefore, do not afraid to change the notion of doing things just for the sake of doing them, doing things because the society expects you to do it. Life has no formula or pattern. So you can't say at a particular age, as the example that I made before, that you go to school for a particular time, after that you go to university, after that you get work, after that, like, there's no pattern to life. So enjoy whatever, embrace whatever that you have. The only certain thing about life is change. Change is so inevitable. Whether you want or you don't want, things are going to change for the worst or for the best. So whether we want to act as though all is well in my camp, if it's not well, definitely it will show. Somebody will notice that, no, things are not okay here. So in order for you to actually be a happier you, live in the change, embrace the change, and then you will be happy. You will make the people around you happy, and everybody else will be happy. Someone said it's not about who you are today, it's about who you want to be tomorrow. So if in this year of 2022 you find yourself sitting unhappily because my kids, because the society, because my church, if you find yourself in that, think of the you that you can be tomorrow. Because yesterday you are the unhappy you, yesterday you are the you that pleases people, But think of the you that you can become tomorrow and try and be that person. Let us, as I said in my previous video, let us jump into the other year and become happy. Let us embrace that change. Let us just live happily and see if the forever after, the happily ever after, actually exists, or it only exists on cartoons. We don't know. We don't know. There's a speaker that I once heard saying, what if heaven is here today where we are? Why do you want to live a certain way because you're saying, I'm preparing myself to go to heaven? What if heaven is here? What if heaven is where we're sitting today? What if this flower is heaven? I'm just asking. But thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, please don't forget to thumbs it up, to like the video, to comment, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Help me grow this channel. I love you. Thank you.